Activate Math Questions, Week 4. Ramona bought 10 yards of fabric to make curtains, and the curtains require 2 feet 3 inches of fabric per pair. So the big thing here is that your units are all different. So if each pair of curtains requires 2 feet 3 inches, let's change everything just completely into inches. So 2 feet become 24 inches. So total, a pair of curtains uses 27 inches of fabric. She has 10 yards of fabric. Well, 10 yards, 3 feet per yard, so that's 30 feet. And when you have 12 inches in a foot, 30 feet become 360 inches. So you need to figure out how many times will 27 inches divide into 360 inches. And when you do that, it goes in 13.3 repeating, or 13 1/3 times. So what that number tells us is that you can make 13 1/3 sets of curtains. So you have a third of a set remaining because it wants to know how much fabric will remain unused. So that's a third of 27 inches. So a third of 27 is 9. So C is then our correct answer. On question 2, we have several different right triangles all meshed into one diagram. The right angles are marked in the diagram, and you also know that AB is 2, and it is also equal to AE, and we're trying to find BD, also knowing that DE is 3. So we've labeled the sides that we can, and I'm going to let X represent side DE, or length DB. So as we begin, we have one right triangle here. We know the 2 legs, 2 and 2, and we need to find this hypotenuse. We'll call it C, because typically, or not typically, that's what we use as the hypotenuse in the Pythagorean theorem. And this segment, BE, is shared by the other right triangle. We'll call it triangle 2. That is adjacent to it. So using the Pythagorean theorem for the first triangle, if we have 2 squared plus 2 squared equals C squared, this is 4 and 4, so 8 is equal to C squared. And if we take the square root, then C is equal to the square root of 8. So I'm going to replace C with the square root of 8. And there's no need to simplify at this point because you're going to use that value in the next calculation. Because now, when you look at the second right triangle, we know the 2 legs of that right triangle, and we're again trying to find the hypotenuse, which has been labeled X. So then that would be 3 squared plus the square root of 8 squared equals X squared. So 3 squared is 9. And then when you square a square root, those are inverse operations. They undo each other, so we're left with 8. And again, that's equal to X squared. So 17 is equal to X squared. And if we take the square root of both sides in order to isolate X is equal to the square root of 17, which is answer choice D. On question 3, we are pardon me, simplifying a radical expression. So I'm going to go ahead and multiply everything I can and then simplify once. So 6 and 4 that are outside the radicals, outside those square root symbols, 6 times 4 is 24. Since the radical symbols are both square root symbols, I can multiply anything together that is underneath that radical symbol or is contained within the radicand. So the next thing I'll do is multiply 48 and 30, and 48 times 30 is 1440, 1440. When we multiply a by a, we get a squared, and then b cubed is just simply along with the rest of the expression. Now, what we will need to do next is simplify or reduce what's underneath that radical symbol, that square root symbol. The 24 is going to come along, and it will be multiplied by whatever else is brought out front. So the first thing we need to do is to reduce or simplify this 1440. And we have to figure out what's the biggest perfect square that's a factor of 1440, and that number is 144. And if you multiply 144 by 10, you get 1440. So then when we say, okay, what's the square root of 1440? Well, that's 12, so 12 comes outside. We don't know what the square root of 10 is. That's an irrational number, and it doesn't have any perfect square factors, so we will leave 10 underneath the radical. Then when you move to a squared, the square root of a squared is simply a, so that comes outside of the radical. Then when you think about b cubed is equal to b squared times b. So when we talk about the b squared, the square root of b squared is b, so it comes outside the radical, but we do have a b still remaining underneath the radical that we could not simplify. And then the last thing we need to do is to multiply 24 times 12, and 24 times 12 gives us 288, ab square root of 10b. And that is answer choice B. And again, as you're looking at your answer choices, pay close attention because it would be very easy to accidentally select an incorrect answer. On number 4, a store advertises buy 3 tires, get the 4th free. And you're asked which of these statements is the equivalent. And if you think about what's going on, you're getting 1 tire for free. So if you look at answer choice C, you're taking 25% off all 4 tires. So you're taking a fourth of the cost off of each of the 4 tires. So 4/4 would give you 1 whole tire. So that 1 whole tire would essentially be the one you're getting for free. So buy 3, get 1 free matches up with or is equivalent to statement C. And then the last one, the measure of the exterior angle of a regular pentagon. So you've got a 5-sided regular polygon. If you remember that all exterior angles of a regular polygon sum to 360, since you have 5 exterior angles, you could say 360 degrees divided by 5 gives you 72 degrees, which is answer choice J. Many of you may not remember that fact, but a lot of you will remember that you can find the sum of the interior angles by saying n minus 2 times 180. So if n is the number of sides, that will be 5 minus 2 times 180. So 3 times 180, or 180 degrees. So that will be 540 degrees. Since there are 5 interior angles, we would take that 540 and divide it by 5 so that the interior angle or each interior angle of the polygon is equal to 108 degrees. The exterior angle is formed by extending the side of the polygon, and the exterior angle along with the interior angle form a linear pair. They're supplementary. They sum to 180 degrees. So that exterior angle must be 72 degrees, which agrees with the first method.